What's up, guys? You're listening to Black Queens Uncut. Grab your wine, your vape, or whatever relaxes you because we're about to have some queen chat. And today we're having our culture combo, which is hashtag Black mental health. Such a big thing, and I think so many people are advocating for it right now, and it's something that I truly partake in, something I truly believe in. I'm Monique Loveless. Ladies, let's know who you are.
What's up, guys? It's Kiki Boom Boom.
Hey, Queens, it's your girl, Miss Candy Marie.
¿Qué pasa? It's TK Trinidad.
Okay, so last time we did have kind of like a talk, and I think Candy and TK, y'all were kind of talking about where y'all were in life. Let's check in on y'all. What's going on?
Well, I'm currently, I'm still on the East Coast in New York. I've been out here for about a month now, just doing my thing. I got a job as an associate producer for a talk show that'll be coming out in a few months. So, just up here hustling.
Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling content? Are you feeling satisfied? Are you feeling like your mental health is doing okay?
I'm in an interesting place. I'm learning still learning how to love myself, and that's a process.
Definitely. TK, update.
Myself, I'm fine. It's just what the world is throwing at me that's it's just like what the F.
Yeah.
But, the good thing is because I'm such a strong person, I'm like working it through.
And Kiki Boom Boom.
I am in a great place mentally. My mental health is great. I'm happy. I'm just tired, but and just trying to figure out life. Like I have this brand new job and just trying to make life decisions that may change my situation. But other than that, mentally, I'm in a really great space.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
And I've been that way for a little bit now.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I feel like mentally I'm in a good space. Sometimes I do, still with everything, with having a career and being a leader and, building businesses and things like that, I do get like kind of some indecisiveness sometimes. But other than that, I feel like I am mentally in a good place. Have any of y'all suffered with anxiety or depression?
This is Kiki Boom Boom. I suffer,
Announce
for those who
yourself.
didn't know, from this deep-ass voice, I suffer from depression, something that I've had since I was a kid. A lot of people in my family suffers from it. It runs in our family. Yeah, man, it was really interesting when I was younger. I'm the only child, but I was raised by two very strong, independent women. And I laugh now, but I remember when I was younger, I had a journal, and I would write in my journal about how depressed I was and how I hated life. And my great-grandmother was very good at reading my journals and reading my personal business, and she'd be like, come, we gonna talk about this. So I was raised by two of the most beautiful women on this planet who were kind of like my early therapists because my great-grandmother also suffered from depression. So we had these talks in my family, and, I'm in a great space now. Sometimes depression will kick my ass.
Yeah.
But something I learned is it's okay to sit in it, but it's not okay to live in it.
Yeah.
That's for me personally because I know that it's harder for others.
Mm-hmm.
Anxiety, I did not think anxiety existed until I had an anxiety attack. So I have a little cousin who suffers from anxiety, and I'd be like, and my aunt, and they would take medicine for it, and I'd be like, what is this damn anxiety? This isn't like a real thing. But I would never say that out loud because I never want to take away anyone's experience.
Yes.
I just didn't understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
And baby, I had my first anxiety attack one day at work, and it was the weirdest experience. But my coworker who also suffers from anxiety was able to help me.
What did it feel like?
Man, it felt like I was suffocating. The walls were closing in. I couldn't breathe. And I didn't understand. I was like, what is happening to me? My chest was caving in.
Wow.
And she's like, hun, you're having an anxiety attack. And that was really real for me. And, as I got older, my family were all about seeing therapists, and my mom sees one. And I don't see one currently. I would love to see one. But growing up, my family was big on, you're going to talk to someone. We're going to talk through this. So I've been in a great space. Once in a blue, it will kick my ass
Yeah.
during my period. But,
Yeah.
it's something that I check on because I know that I have it in me, and that's something that I suffer from.
Right. Okay, so this is about to be my therapy session. Okay, so I suffered really badly with depression when I moved here, like suicidal depression. I was checked in twice for suicidal depression because I was on the brink of trying to kill myself. Because I just don't, at that time I felt like, why is God making me suffer here? Like, why am I even here? I have no purpose. I don't know why I'm here. I think it had a lot to do because me and my grandma was really close, and she died when I was 17. So I think that was kind of moving away from my family and stuff. I felt like that was a part of grieving as well. But it was really hard, and I was very much alone. I felt very alone. I felt so like, can't nobody feel the way that I feel right now. And I would never wish it upon anybody I even disliked. Like, I would never wish that upon anyone. And I'm really happy because I'm in a really good mental space now. And sometimes it does creep in and like you said, I have to know, okay, sit in it a little bit, but don't live in it. But in September, a friend of mine took his life, and that was really hard. That was really hard because I just saw him, and all you can ever think about is like his smile. I had just hugged him. It was just, and all I could think about is that I could have been there. That could have been me. And not, you think about to yourself, like, how could you have helped? How could you have been there? You should have talked to them more. You should have had a conversation with them more. And there's nothing you can do. There is nothing that you can do. And I always pray, I'm just like, I hope he's in a better space now. But that really hit home for me. It really hit home for me. And I was able to get help. But not everybody is, and I think that's a big thing. Because our community as Black people, we have looked upon it for years to just throw things under the rug, or, therapy is for the crazy people. But I feel like if I wouldn't have had therapy or given myself that space to be like, you know what, it's okay, Mo, to have a life coach. It's okay to have therapy. I would have been there. That would have been me. So that's really hard. But in the same time, it's like I really am proud of myself as well. Sorry, I just broke down.
No, please.
Thank you for
fine.
sharing that. I recently also just lost a friend to suicide as well, and the same thoughts went through my mind as, what didn't we do? What could we have done more? We should have reached out more. But like you said, it's something that there's nothing you really can do, because when someone's in that space, someone's in that space. So the same thoughts went through my mind. He just took his life a few weeks ago, where, grateful enough that his boyfriend started a group for us on Facebook, so we're able to release those thoughts and talk about those things. So I just want to say, prayers to you and him and his family. And it's tough, you know what I'm saying? Everyone is different. Every situation is different. It's tough. It is tough. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Oh, child.
All right.
This podcast is our therapy session. I do want to say, right quick, according to the American Psychiatric Association, because we got some stats, there's a segment called Barriers to Care, and it says, despite recent efforts to improve mental health services for African Americans and other minority groups, these are some of the barriers that remain, especially in the Black community. Stigma associated with mental illness in the Black community, distrust of the healthcare system, lack of providers from diverse and racial ethnic backgrounds, like trying to find a Black therapist or psychiatric help, lack of culturally competent providers, and lack of insurance and underinsurance. So just wanted to throw that out there.
I haven't personally really experienced anxiety, but depression for sure. And that was deep.
Yeah, there's definitely dark places, but I'm very thankful for faith. But yeah, there's definitely times where it's just I was talking to somebody the other day. It's like there was this, or I think it was the beginning of this podcast where it's like everything for me up until maybe about a year ago was like gravy. Anything I put my mind to, I got it done. Yes, there was a struggle. It didn't come easy, but it just seems like stuff has just been like grinding, and it's definitely difficult to take, especially for somebody who's just so used to just like working hard and accomplishing it. So it's definitely hard for me to um, go through that. However, it's one of those things where thankfully because of faith and thankfully because of the stuff that my mom has instilled in me, that I'm like remaining sticking to the course. It's definitely hard, and adulting is a motherfucker. Like, this is one of those things where the more you get into your career and the more you get into adulting, the more you get into things that you want, and your taxes and all this other stuff. It's just like the more it seems more overwhelming, especially with living in Los Angeles, where you have people that are around our age that are like a house, kids, family, and we're here struggling like to just make sure everything is taken care of. So it's definitely it's hard in that sense. But I honestly, when stuff gets to the point where it's just so enveloping, where I just feel like everything is caving in, it's just my faith that's kind of brought me through.
Yeah, I definitely have dealt with depression a lot, and I agree with TK 100%. You definitely have to lean onto your faith. But sometimes you have those moments where you get so low and it's hard to pull yourself up. I think being in this business is it's an emotional roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Some days, like we've invested and sacrificed so much that our friends, our family members probably wouldn't even have the strength to do or to even endure. A few months ago, I was at a place where it was just like, man, I felt like things were going so well, and then they take a turn, and then when they take that turn, you're not prepared for it. So it's just like you're put into a position of, okay, God, what's next? Like, what am I supposed to do? Or you get in a place where your finances are not working out. Relationships aren't working out. You don't feel like you're getting support from your family members, and you feel alone, and you feel like you don't have control of your life. To the point where it's like, what, I'm sick of this. Like, is this my life? Is this what it's going to be? And then God comes through and he gives you that glimmer of hope through people, through friends, and like somebody will just call you randomly, or somebody will just drop $100 in your account. Like something will just happen, and that'll be like God's reminder that he still loves you and that he's got your back.
Yeah, definitely. I will say this. I do believe that kind of going into the next question, if there's a stigma around seeking professional help for us. I do believe there's a stigma, but also I think it has to do with us not being able to see our own and speak to our own as well. So finding a Black therapist. I personally didn't have a Black therapist. I did have a woman therapist. I thought that was very important for me. And then every month, even now to this day, I have a life coach. And even if people don't believe in therapy, I think having a life coach is really good. A life coach is a little bit different than therapy, as that person will guide you and kind of help you find ways to compartmentalize those thoughts or how you look at yourself, question yourself with those negative connotations that you have about yourself. So I do want to bring this up. So Blavity just wrote an article, and according to Fast Company, Eric Coley just came up with an idea for an app called Ayana, which you'll be able to go on. No, it says take aside the stigmatization and of the lack of access to insurance and resources, and tend to only find people whom they aren't able to relate to quite well. And they essentially give up. So they buy into the notion that there's no one out there who can help them or relate to them. And I feel like that has a lot to do with it. So Ayana is a new app where you can find a Black therapist. And I think that is a problem where we're unable to find people who look like us, who've gone through the same thing that we've gone through. So how can I talk to somebody who doesn't even understand? I mean, we even have family members who say that. how do, I can't talk to that person, or I can't date that person, or I can't do this because they don't understand where I came from, or they don't understand me. And I will say this, like, the girl I call my sister, she was going through a really hard time because her husband and her baby daddy had just got killed. And she was 8 months pregnant. And loved her to death, but she was also Catholic. So that was a thing. And I was like, do whatever you can, go to therapy. And she did, and it changed her whole entire life. She's now blessed, happy, married, has 2 more kids, like, has a Cameron in her life. And it's really important because it teaches us how to look at ourselves outside of our friends and our family, outside of people who are invested in us and know us. So I think the stigma is starting to be broken down now that celebrities are jumping on board. Like Taraji P. Henson has her foundation. People are speaking up about it. Charlamagne the God, is speaking up about it. He's talking about how he has a therapist. And so many people are coming forward that look like us, which I think is such a beautiful thing because there is a stigma around it.
It is. I also just want to throw in really quickly the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, lifeline number, just in case anyone's listening. The number is 1-800-273-8255, 1-800-273-8255. If you want to call someone, if you're feeling any type of way, feel free to slide any of our DMs, and, because we've all been there personally, so feel free to talk to us if you guys need any of that help. And if you're on Instagram, there are a few Instagrams for Black therapists. One is called Therapy for Black Girls. That's the Instagram. And one is called Black Female Therapists. So then there's the app that Monique spoke about. But please, 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 if you feel like you may need to talk to someone, please call that number.
How do you feel like racism, discrimination, and societal norms have shaped our mental health as a Black community?
Sometimes you feel like because people don't understand, they therefore don't care. Or in this adulting situation, it's a little bit different when you're younger because you kind of think, you just think of yourself more. But in this adulting situation, you realize that everybody has problems, no matter if they have money or not. So then it's hard to really, really look at your problems, and for me, and say, oh, well, I'm going through all this, but it's like everybody's going through something. And therefore that almost puts pressure on yourself to like not be in that place, but you have to sit in that space for a little bit. And it just, I think some people just want to like tough it out and not acknowledge it, but then it affects other aspects of their life. And I think talking to people or talking to somebody is so important about your fears, about your anxieties, about what's going on, because that is a release. If you hold in all that pressure, eventually you're going to break in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. So it's just like you have to realize, and this is something that I've learned because my mom and my grandmother are like that, where it's just like they just power through. Yeah. You don't talk about your emotions, you just go through it. And, I've seen my mom break down. So it's one of those things where you have to, figure out a way of release and realize that it's okay. If you don't necessarily want to go to a therapist, then at least talking to somebody or at least releasing it in some different way, shape, or form is helpful.
Yeah. I really feel like racism, discrimination, and societal norms have been a part of all of our mental health. Black gay men, societal norms, even though we're starting to be more open to fluidity and the LGBT community, but we see what Jussie Smollett is going through, even if it's a hoax or not, like they're making him an example, and they've always made, I feel like, our Black men examples. And that shapes our mental health or how we look at, Black, just our own community. I feel like racism, discrimination from slavery has been brought down to even our parents, to the point where it's just like shut up and do what you need to do, or push everything underneath the rug, or that doesn't matter.
Right.
That, or go to church,
Mm-hmm.
or, call on God. And it's like, okay, I understand that, that's what you've learned, but sometimes you can't get outside of yourself to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's hard to do, to even get outside of yourself to do those things. So I do feel like it has been a thing. That's why I'm really excited that a lot of celebrities are starting to speak up about it. Candy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's cool that, like, it's finally a part of the conversation, like we're seeing it written in scripted series now, like popular scripted series, and, more and more people are vocal because, it really used to be frowned upon for anybody to talk about mental illness in any capacity. More and more people are talking about therapy, I think it's cool. I think it's great. And I wish that this conversation would have been started a long time ago, and I wish that we would have normalized it a long time ago. Maybe, we could have saved somebody's life, but it's happening now, so I celebrate it.
Right, because even we see so many of these young kids are just dying, just not even realizing how important life is.
Yeah.
And that's
how important they are.
They are. I always say that, like, I hope going forward, because I know that, like, a lot of schools want to put, like, anti-bullying classes in school. And I pray that going forward they also put, like, classes in school where you learn to love yourself, and maybe therapists in some of these schools, and provide it to the families who can't afford it, or, like, not just guidance counselors, because not all guidance counselors are created equal, because I had a horrible one, but just someone for people to talk to in these schools to kind of help these kids. And shout out to places like Red Table Talk, where there's a show where now 3 women are sitting at a table and they're talking about depression and anxiety and Black mental health and mental health for women. So, like you guys said, it's now in the shows, podcasts, celebrities are talking about it. And like Candy said, I wish we talked about it a little bit earlier, but shout out to social media where now everyone's talking about it. So maybe now the people who are coming up will be able to save a little bit more lives.
Right.
Do you think the pendulum is swinging towards a direction where we're over talking, and now you're it's like you're stuck in the over analyzing and over talking, opposed to the generation before us and the generation before that just did?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's a new subject for us. I think it's a new openly subject for us. I don't think that we know it's there, but we haven't openly talked about it. And now people that you look up to are openly saying, hey, I go to therapy. That's how I got where I've gotten.
Right.
That's why I'm successful. Even Jay-Z speaking up about it. That's huge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Huge.
For him to sit there and say, you know what, I was wrong. I had to go to therapy to get my shit together. That's major. There's so many people that look up to him, and so many people who look up to these people who are talking about it. I don't think that it can get lost in the rummage. Right. I think it's more of us need to start talking about it. I think it needs to be a conversation at the table at all times, like politics, like everything else. Because it's so important, no matter how you do it, whether it's, get outside of your comfort zone, get out, travel more, or even just journal. Start journaling. Like, even just journaling can help. Have your kids journal. Do what Kiki would.
Listen.
Have your kids journal and you read it. Cause
my grandmother would read all my journals.
Wait, did you give her permission? I kind of
No, my great. What do you mean permission? I lived in their home.
But you still wrote it.
See, that's
I rented a room from them at 9 years old. Yeah. So because my aunt would tell her, like, you cannot read Nakia's diary, and my great grandmother would be like, yes, I can.
See, because of that happened to me too. I had a journal, and my mom would read it. And since that point, I don't write in journal. Like I have a thing that, like, I know I need to journal just to get it out. But I am because of that particular thing, I don't. Like, if I'll write something, but I'll erase it. So I don't even know what I said a year ago.
I will
because of that
say,
situation.
like, though I was younger, because I know we got to wrap up soon, and I was upset at that, but that saved my life a lot.
Yeah.
Where my great-grandmother and mother were intervening, where she was like, like, you can continue writing your journal, but we're going to keep checking in.
Yep.
We want to make sure you're okay. And that actually did save my life as a young kid. And we laugh about it now, but when I was younger, I was like, I would never say this out
Right.
loud, but be like, stay out of my room. And she'd be like, that's my room.
Right.
That's my journal.
Right.
But it saved my
That's a
life where
black
she'd be like, please
mother.
come talk to me about these things.
Right.
So it definitely, but I understand where you're coming from too.
Yeah.
I know you feel like it's an invasion of privacy, and you'll be mad at the moment because I was mad at my mom when she read mine. But honestly, I felt like I'm 32 without ever having kids, and that's a lot to say from where I came from.
Mm.
And that was because she was reading my stuff, you know? So I feel like even having journals to just let it go, if somebody reads it, at least it's like you have to now talk about it.
Mm.
You have no choice. And that's the main point of therapy. You need to talk it out
Yeah.
so you can get it off of your mind, off your chest, out of you, period. Any last words for you, Candy?
Yes, I just want to say mental health matters. I think we should start a hashtag that says mental health matters, and maybe we share our, mental health stories, because sometimes I think that the moments that we think break us are really the moments that make us,
Okay.
So I just want to leave that with our listeners. The moment that you think is your life is over, man, when you just get past that moment and you see the other side, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yes, Queens, I'm so glad that we had this conversation. And to make sure you hit that hotline if you had, or you can DM us at Queens Uncut, or just DM us personally as we give out our information. If you want more information, or if you just need somebody to talk to, tell them where they can find you, ladies.
Yes, you guys can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom. And again, feel free to call that number and feel free to slide in my DMs if you just want to talk to somebody. I'm a great listener.
Yeah, she is a great listener. I've talked to her myself.
Thanks, Candy Boo.
Yeah, and also if you want to talk to me as well, please feel free to reach out. You can reach me on Instagram at Miss Candy Marie.
And you can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Yeah, definitely come and talk to me. I know people have in the past because they're wondering, how are you so strong? But definitely that's not, I appear that, but I also have emotions too. So you can definitely come to me.
Right. And you can always hit me up. I'm in a better place. So you can always hit me up at It's Monique Loveless. And make sure you, once again, hit us up at Queens Uncut on all social media platforms. And make sure you check out our next episode. And if you haven't heard the rest of them, catch up, okay? Thank you, Queens.
Ciao.
Bye.